Hello. I am trying to read the Way of Kings. I'm trying to finish it tonight. Um, but before I finish it, I have a few theories that I want to share. Um, Theory one is that Shallan is going to become the vessel for Odium because at the end of part 3, Shallan lost any chance of getting all of her goals, and she does not come back until part 5, which is only the last 6 chapters of this book. So I think Odium is gonna be like, because he's only been mentioned like 2 times in this book so far, even though I'm like 800 something pages into it, and I know nothing about him, but I'm pretty sure he's like the Dark Lord. So he's gonna be like, yo, Shallan, you should like become my vessel and I'll give you money for your family or something like that. Okay. Um, Theory 2 is that Kaladin is Kalek being the herald from the prelude to the Stormlight Archive. And because I remember in the prelude there was something about dying over and over again and reliving these desolations. And like all the chapters have these like chapter headings they're like history snippets. I think they're written by Yasna, and so far they're all last words from people who died. And one of them is like, the last desolation should not be called that because it's not the last desolation. The Everstorm still comes, which seems to imply that this series is taking place in a new desolation within Roshar. So what I'm thinking is that Kalek abandons the Oath Pact because Yezrian told him to, which I'll come back to Yezrin for my third theory. So Kalek abandons the Oath Pact thinking that that's going to end the desolations, but no, a new desolation comes and Kalek gets reincarnated into Kaladin, and now Kaladin has like this responsibility for the desolation, and also like because I know that there's like this whole Cosmere thing, and now Hoyd is like has talking to Kaladin. It's probably also going to be like galaxy-wide stuff that Kaladin has to deal with because his past life was like, I'm gonna just abandon the Oath Pact, whatever the hell the Oath Pact is. And my last theory is that God abandoned Roshar because in one of the chapters, Sigzo, who is a world singer, who I also just found out from a chapter right before the chapter that I just finished, Sigzo is apprentice to Hoyd. Okay? Now, Sigzo said that Stormfather, now, like, for this whole book, Stormfather has been, like, the center of Vorin worship, the Alethi god, the Almighty, but according to Sigzil, Stormfather is just the Alethi name for Yezrian, and Yezrian in the prelude is the king of the heralds, okay? And Yezrian was the one who's like, yo, Kalek, you should abandon the Oath Pact, but we're gonna leave one herald behind. One herald is gonna suffer in the place of all 10 of us, which is real graceful, real ethical of you, Yezrian. So yeah, that's my theory, is that God abandoned Roshar, and Kaladin Kalek has to deal with the consequences. And the Dark Lord is going to possess a ginger woman. Also, another thing that makes the Shallan theory interesting to me is probably not going to happen. Maybe it does. part of me wants it to happen, but it's probably not going to happen. But I know that the premise of Words of Radiance, if I'm remembering it correctly, it involves Adolin courting Shallan, and they probably get married because Yasna at the end of this book, and this is just a guess, I don't know, it's just a guess, but my guess is that Yasna at the end of this book is like, yo, your family's broke, so like marry into the Colin family to get riches. That doesn't really make sense though, because Yasna is probably really pissed that Shallan tried to steal from her. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm gonna go read now. Bye.